Hi, and welcome to a new video on Pixelmon, and in this video I'll be covering what actually means BP or Battle Perfect. Now, I do those breed orders, and I get this request a lot that people want a certain Pokemon BP, and when I ask them what is BP, I normally don't really get a straight answer out of it. They just say Battle Perfect, and I ask them, okay, so what do you want? And they still don't really have an answer because they don't really exactly know what it means. So I'll be covering that, which basically means that the Pokemon that you want BP has the right nature, the right IV stats, and the right EV stats. So let's start first with the nature, because that is probably the easiest one to explain. And I'll be using Sobble in this case for an example. So my Sobble that I have right here is Timid Nature. Sobble is a special attacker, or at least I'm planning to make this one a special attacker. So I gave him a nature that flaws his attack, but instead ups his speed. And it doesn't affect his special attack at all. So basically he will be using special attacks while being very speedy. There are a bunch of natures, and I'll be covering the majority of them. You can look this up on the internet as well, but there are 24 natures in total, and 4 of them are neutral. And then there are 4 natures with an increase in either attack, defense, speed, special attack, or special defense, and a flaw in either of the other ones. So, for example, this one has minus attack, but has his speed upgraded. For special attackers, the other possibility is Modest, for example, which ups its special attack, but flaws its attack because it doesn't use attack. So Pokemon can have more than one preferable nature. And that is where most misunderstandings come from. When somebody asks for a BP, you give them what you think is a BP nature, and then turns out they want a different one. So the Sobble, for example, if you rather utilize its special attack and choose to go for a Modest nature, that still doesn't mean that Pokemon is no longer BP. It just means it has a very different approach of how you're going to use it in battle. Like my example of the Sobble that I'm showing right here, this one is meant to outspeed other Pokemon and not so much like straight up kill them. If I want to have more firepower in him and not care so much for the speed, then I would have given it Modest. So that about the nature. Then the IVs is basically what I do with the breeding. In-game you can check this with /IVs, and a little list of the IVs pops up. So as we just saw in the summary, my Sobble is Timid. So it flaws its attack, which you can see, this one's 10, and ups his speed. Now all the other stats, you will need those. He needs his HP, it will need its defense, it will need its special defense, it will definitely need his special attack and speed, because that is exactly why I gave him Timid Nature in the first place. However, I don't need attack, because that is the one that I flawed. So when I'm breeding a Battle Perfect Sobble, I will likely flaw the attack for it, because that is the stat it won't need. It will still need defense, it will still need special defense to take on hits. Same for HP, which is basically always needed. There are very special cases where speed is actually preferably the stat to flaw, like some Pokemon that want to go second in a turn. Ferrothorn is a special example of this. We will have all the stats maxed out except for speed, or in some cases Seismitoad is also an example of that. Alright, so for IVs, this is basically what I do for breeding. I breed them to be like these stats, synchronized with their nature. And then there is the part of EVs, or effort values, and I've noticed that a lot of people do not know how to properly train that part. So I'm actually going to show that in the video here. Now EVs also have effect on the eventual stats that they will have. For example, I have my Mewtwo here that is completely BP. Well, almost BP. Some people would argue they want timid on this one as well. I went for modest. Doesn't matter for the example specifically. But Mewtwo uses special attack and speed mostly. So I EV trained this one to be a good special attacker and speed. So this one will gain extra stats because it has full effort values in special attack and speed. Now, how did I get it on there in the first place? I will show you that with the Sobble. So first we have to get some power items. So here's the one for speed. There's one for special defense. There's one for special attack, which we are also going to bring one. There is one for defense. There's one for attack, and there's one for HP. So Sobble, we're only going to EV train in special attack and in speed, and the last little bit you can do without the power items, but I will get to that in a second. So on the PokeCentral server, you have a special area for EV training, which you can access by going to warp space EV training. And you will end up at the training facility, as you can see right here. So you go to this lady here, you say, hello, I would like a training pass. And that gives you access to the training zone. Once inside, there are trainers in various rooms that are labeled with the stat that they will give as they are defeated. So special defense, special attack, HP, speed, and there's defense and attack on the other side. So in our case, we are first going to do special attack. If you don't have an XP all or XP share, you actually need to fight with the Sobble. If you do have it, EVs pass over if you gain experience. It doesn't have to go into the battle, but it will gain effort values even if it doesn't participate, but as long as it gets experience. So I have an experience all. If I would fight with Mewtwo, who is already maxed out in EVs, the Sobble will still gain effort values. So I'm going to show you that my Sobble has 0 effort values at this point. And now we're going to train it. As you can see, special attack training, power lens, which it is holding. Double check, special attack. Alright, and we're just going to fight this trainer. Now we'll only have level 1 Pokemons. I have in this case it's a Charizard, so it shouldn't take too long. There we go, it actually one-shots it straight away. So I only beaten one. I'll just run for now, just to show you that my Sobble actually gained effort values. As you can see, it gained 11 special attack. That is only because I was using the power item. If I don't use a power item, it only gains up by 4, if I'm correctly. But we need to go to 252. So we're going to beat this trainer a few more times. We'll probably speed this part up anyway, because it's really boring. It's just, it's just spamming pretty much until you're at 252. Alright, so that's done with the special attack. So now we're going to do speed as well. We basically do the same thing, except we switch out the power item. For speed, it's the power anklet, which I just equipped. Yep, the speed one. And we continue. And I'll speed this up too. And there we go. That's Sobble pretty much done. We still have, as you can see, there's 2% left. We still can get 6 stats. I guess I'm just going to give him a little bit more defense. So I'm just going to beat this guy once. And then show you that he already gained the 6 that he needed, even though he didn't have the proper item. So normally you basically gain like 6, I guess, then per trainer that you beat that doesn't have the right item. And if you do wear the right item, it will basically be 11, depending on your level. So that is basically how you EV train. So this Sobble is now actually done. So the only thing I need to do right now is either feed it rare candies or get someone to Blissey train it to level 100, and I will have a battle perfect Sobble. So that's how you EV train. I hope you learned a bit about how to EV train and how to do it properly, and I wish you good luck on EV training all your Pokemon.